This episode of this Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey is brought to you by energy healer Jean Border's personal, powerful transformation program. Know you're leaving money on the table, but can't figure out how to bring it in? Need to double your productivity and profitability? Need an extra push to get things moving in the right direction? Visit www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com/transformation now and apply for a business consultation with Jean. Welcome to the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey, where we take out your emotional baggage and heal your emotional body so you get to enjoy the success you desire and deserve. Prepare to feel a sense of relief and empowerment as we get rid of the baggage you've been carrying that's held up your business success up until now. Be sure to visit our website at www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, lean in, get comfortable, and prepare to take off.
Hi, everyone. This is Jean Border, your host for the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey podcast. I hope everyone is doing well. I have another very special guest here. This is Yvonne McCoy, and she is a business strategist, which I find really fascinating. Hi, talk to me. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I am so excited to be here. And one of the things that I find really interesting is the fact that you have practical dreamer. And I think, as an entrepreneur, we always have those two, diverse kinds of things that we have to put together. So part of what I do is I work with women entrepreneur and enlightened men to work with what they've got, because as entrepreneurs, we tend to chase the shiny object and we accumulate lots of stuff. And so what I do is I help them assess what they have and streamline it down and focus on the thing that's going to make them money. And one of the ways that we do that is with my VIP profit roadmap, which is your vision, your innovation, and your profit uniqueness. And those are kind of they're more of the softer skills that you can add to your hard skills that you already have. And I think one of the things that I like about it is that it means that you're making a profit from who you authentically are. And that helps you stand out in the market. So if I would say anything in introduction to your audience, if they're just thinking about being an entrepreneur, they're the beginning of their entrepreneurial journey. Being an entrepreneur is not for the weak of heart. You have to be able to step out. My mantra this past year is fail forward faster.
Oh, I like that.
Because it really is an experiment. And part of the innovation process has to do with the fact that it's not when it will change, but if it will change. And how do you address those changes so that you can be consistently profitable?
You alluded to the title of my show. If you're not practical in business, you don't get very far. But you also have to have big dreams, right?
Absolutely.
So when you work with clients, what's the first step you take them through?
The first step we look at is a practical step. What do you have? Although I do ask them to kind of get hooked into the vision. What do you want to be remembered for at your 100th birthday? Because the gift that I'm giving you is accelerate productivity and profit with one small change. That one small change is being hooked into what I call dead reckoning, which is really your vision. And this was the thing that made a huge difference for me. In both my personal and my professional life, because I do a lot of models and because I believe if you can't remember it, you can't use it. And so I was a very type A personality. I mean, practical. I still am very practical. But when I got ready to lose weight, it was like, I know what to do. Because at one point I was over 400 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was almost homebound. And it's like, it's not that I don't know what I have to do. I just have to burn more calories than I eat. That's not the problem. So what's missing? And what was missing was a big enough why. why do I want to do it? I mean, obviously, the fact that I could be dying might do it, but it didn't. And what for me did it was the fact that my first grandchild was coming. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be an active grandparent. I mean, so apparently that was more important than, being slim and sexy. But the point of it was that was when I first started thinking about dead reckoning and having something that I could say when I had to make a decision. Is this going to help me do this, or is this not going to help me do this? You're never going to have the right answer. I mean, I always say, life is like a dimmer switch, not an off and on. It's not a binary choice. It's never yes or no. It's kind of one end is yes, one end is no. And in between, you have wonderful options, right? So that's how I first started with it. Then, in March of 2020, I was hospitalized for 5 days, not with COVID, but when I came out, we were in COVID lockdown. I was working with a lot of nonprofits who basically had no way to make money. So they were struggling to pay their staff, and they didn't have money. They had no way to, pay me. And it was like, oh my God. Out of desperation, I had to come up with a system that, and it turned out to be an opportunity, because I would have kept trudging down the same road. And it was like, if I'm going to do this for 20 more years, I want it to be something that I want to do. What is it that I want to do? And, I realized that making a change was one of the hardest things. How do I make a change and work, go through it? Because you're not always going to be successful. Sometimes being successful, you don't learn anything. When you fall, so my mantra when I was losing weight, and it still is today, is it doesn't matter how many times you fall down. It only matters how many times you get up and how fast. So if you don't start that diet again till the next year, it's going to take you forever. But if you can start it in the next meal, you haven't lost much time. And so that's kind of the way that I deal with change in business. I tell people, change is not really a new beginning, which we tend to think about. In order to have successful change, you have to end something or make room for something. And in between that beginning and that ending is where most people quit, right? Because you're ending something, you're uncomfortable, you're fearful, things are not going right. It's called the neutral zone, which I think is the worst name ever, because it's anything but neutral, right? And so people quit there. But if you know that's coming, you can be proactive and you can prepare for it, right? You can say, I know this is, like another thing that I say to myself is, I've never been so miserable before. I must be making a great change.
That's funny.
and that's exactly how I feel right now, because I'm going to be changing platforms. And I'm like, oh my God, what made me decide to do this? This is, So I think that's it. I think that having that dead reckoning, having that vision can keep you on track. It can keep you motivated. It connects you with people who have the same values that you have. As your business grows, it helps you to create the culture that you want to have, right? And so that is where I start. And then we get into innovation, because sometimes we get caught on ideas that have passed their prime, or we haven't tapped into new trends. So, one of the new trends that I would say to people is it's taking people much longer to buy from us now. It just is. And so how do you keep those people engaged until they decide to buy? And the other thing is they expect you to have expertise. When we used to be in kind of the authority thing where I'm the authority, I'm the guru, they came to you because you knew what you were doing. So knowing what you're doing is kind of a minimum requirement. What they're buying is the fact that they like you and trust you, and you can help them actually implement what you're teaching them and give them accountability. So if you can't, if what you're doing doesn't do that, you're going to have trouble keeping people in your orbit and getting, them to sign on. And then the last thing is, your profit uniqueness. I mean, for years and years, I have MBA after my name. And so I really felt like I had to be so professional and so polished and so, and it has been going away, which is a good thing. I mean, one of my tech people went to one of my webinars, one of the first ones that in my monthly webinar that I'm doing now. And she was also my client. She said to me, the person that presented at that webinar is not the person I've been working with for a year and a half. Drop that stuff and be yourself.
And that is key. That is so critical. I see that so often. I'll find someone on a telesummit or whatever, and then I'll sign up for their information, and what they send back is this perfect caricature of who they were when they were authentic, when I first met them, if you will. And it's like, I don't want to deal with that person, and I unsubscribe just that quickly.
Yeah. So, I jokingly say I did this, accelerate productivity and profit with one small change after COVID. And I said, I look like a captured, lockdown COVID victim in my videos. Bear with me because the material is still good, even though I might be frightening,
That's funny. But you're honest about it, right? You give them a heads up, ignore the talking head, pay attention to the information.
Right.
Yeah. That's cool. So the product uniqueness, do you help people figure that out? Is that part of what you do, or they come to you with that knowledge already?
Part of what I do is I work with people who have been in business, for a while. So they've got some sense of what it is they want to do. And then what we do is we come up with the client trust journey, which is, how you do keep people in that orb, how you get people, that know that there's a problem to transition into, I have this problem, and then I need what you're selling kind of thing. And what we do is we talk about what your take is on that. So, I mean, I often say, water is wet. It doesn't matter who's selling it. Water is wet. But, I might be a coach that teaches you how to drink water to hydrate, where somebody else is, I teach you how to get better speed when you're swimming in water, how to use water for your, to water your lawn. So the fact that you are different is what makes you stand out. And I think that, you have to realize what your gifts are, and you can't do that by yourself. And a perfect experience is, I always say, if after you talk to me, I want you to leave better than when than when we first met, whether you work with me or not. And yesterday I had someone who showed up to my workshop, the VIP Profit Roadmap. And what they wanted to do was farming. And I was like, gee, this is going to be a challenge. I don't know anything about this. So we started talking. And in the end, what it came down to was they were doing a specific kind of thing. And I said, this makes you very local. This is not going to give you a worldwide market, right? If you could package this somehow and, whatever. And it turned out that they had a background in supply logistics, right? And I said, do you realize you could come up with a product such as, a hydroponics for kids that you could ship all over the world, and you already have the logistics part down. I mean, and then we came up, we started brainstorming, and that's what I do with people. People don't realize what buried treasure they have in their gifts. Someone else I talked to was doing real estate. And I said, there's a huge market. They were doing short-term rentals, but I said, there's a huge market in corporate rentals. And he was like, oh my God, I've been in corporate rentals for 20 years. I never thought about using that.
So many times we're in the middle of the forest, so we can't see the forest.
Right.
Because all we see are the very few trees around us, and we don't see the bigger picture. But someone on the outside can just listen to you talk and say, oh, well, why aren't you doing this? Right.
And then the other piece is that I say to them, typically we have a head business and we have a heart business. When we're starting our business, we are so into our heart business, which is not making us very much money, either because we picked the wrong target market or because we can't find people with that need that can pay for it. And so part of what I do is say, all right, let's take a look at your head business so that you can fund your heart business. So after we do the client's journey, trust journey, we do a money map. How many one-on-one kind of clients would you have to have? How many one-to-many would you have to have? How many people would you actually have to talk to be able to get enough people in the pipeline? The numbers part of it, right? And then when you start to see, oh, if I do this once with a group, I can make more money than if I do the one-on-one, although the one-on-one is faster, so that you get a balance in your business. And then you can go back to the client's trust and say, okay, how can I price these so that they fit into the right place? My small group intensive is 8 weeks, and it basically is meant for people that they're sick and tired of working hard and not getting consistent sales. Okay. And my goal is that by the end of the 8 weeks, if you haven't gotten a sale, you're very close to it. That you get out there, that, we get your pitch together so you can tell people what you do. And, it's not like I do A, B, C, D, E. I can do anything for the right price.
And I hear that so often. Everybody, oh, well, I don't want to leave anybody out.
Yeah.
And they come from a place of fear. So much of what you said your discussion with me so far has focused on two things that I see. Number one is mindset or psychology. And number two is strategic action.
Yes.
And if you miss either part of those, you're going to have a harder time, right? With your endeavors.
And the mindset is so important because not only do you need to understand the mindset of your client, you need to understand that you've got some mindset that needs to be taken a look at too. Just the idea of, I want to help everybody and I can't charge for this. Hey, then you don't need to be in business. You need to win the lottery.
Yes.
Right. And it's really amazing where that pops up. And one of the things that I go into is it isn't your fault, because so many of the mindsets that we have and limiting beliefs come from our childhood. When you were born, you were fearless. You were a genius. You were willing to do anything. And your parents said, oh my God, this kid's going to kill themselves. Let me clamp them down. And so they basically kind of dimmed you down, and then they put you in an education system that further dumbed you down.
Big time.
So the thing is, it's kind of having the one small change to say, I can have a big, bold vision. I can have a huge impact. And it may start very small, but as you start to meet more people and do more things, and I think the thing that I've been focusing on a lot is, like I said, the entrepreneurial journey. There are so many things that are predictable that happen to people as you go through it. If you know it ahead of time, you can be proactive and you can keep from making mistakes. And one of the biggest mistakes I think that I made was I was very much in the mindset of I have to be an expert and I have to be really good at what I do before I go into community settings so I can be an expert. And I would say, if you're going into business, the first thing you want to do is get in community and be absolutely honest and say, I'm thinking about doing this. Give me some feedback. Give me some ideas. Connect me with people that are already doing it so that you're not developing competence in an area that's archaic or worthless, right? And that way, you're going to grow so much faster. It's not, you don't have to do it alone.
And the other part to what you just mentioned was, whatever level you're at, there is someone that's at one level below you that that needs the information that you have to give to that person, because you were so close to where they were that it's all very fresh in your mind and in your experience.
Absolutely.
So you have tremendous value that you can provide to someone who's one level below you.
And when I was losing weight, I was like, I want to be a health coach, but I'm not at my ideal weight. And somebody said to me, you've lost over 100 pounds. Do you know how many people would like to know how to do that? And here's the funny part. This is how old I am. I did a teleseminar. And I put in the description, this is for people. I wanted to put you wanted to lose 100 pounds or more. And I thought, well, what if you only had 90 pounds? Would that keep you from coming, So I put in for people who want to lose a significant amount of weight. And I was amazed at how many people that had to lose 5 or 10 pounds that showed up. And it really broadened my, because it was as much a struggle for them to lose that amount of weight that it was for me to lose 100.
Because it's all about the psychology.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. So I often say, my perfect person is the person who struggles with the avatar, because my perfect client never fit the numbers and the demographics. They were, somebody said, let's do this from a psychographic way. What's going on in their life now that they want to change? And that made so much more sense to me. So I'll just throw one other thing out. I do a lot of models because, like I said, if you can't remember it, you can't use it. And so one of my favorites is make your learning last. So you learn something, L is learn something, A is you apply it, S is you share it, and T is you have a trigger. So I hope in this podcast that your people have learned something, that they won't just forget it, that they'll actually apply it, that they'll think about somebody in their life that they can share it with. And that they can say, okay, when I have to make a decision, maybe the thing that they're taking away is life is not a light switch, but a dimmer switch. They'll say, okay, what kind of situations am I in that I tend to, say no, yes, no, yes, no, and so that they can use it. And I think that, just having that kind of approach, as well as, my other new thing is, am I being curious or am I being judgmental? And if I'm being curious, then what is the opportunity or the gift? And so, like when I came out of the hospital and we were in COVID, at that point, I didn't think it was a gift, but it absolutely was, because it made me really reassess everything in my life and about what I wanted to do.
And on that note, we're going to close out this episode. Yvonne has a free gift, and the information will be down below in the links. Thank you so much for listening in. I want to thank my guests for being such an informative, interesting guest. I really appreciate your time with me here today.
Well, I hope I met your practical dreamer
yes.
description.
Yes.
Because it's about both.
Yes, it is. And so thanks, everyone, for tuning in. This is your host, Jean Border, with the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey. Until next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey, where we take out your emotional baggage and heal your emotional body so you get to enjoy the success you desire and deserve. Remember to visit our website at www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey.